Welcome to Crowning Connections with Rob Clemens. I am excited. I am at the home show. It is a beautiful fall and a beautiful day in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm with Donald Hovis. Donald, how's it going today?
It's going great, Rob. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I'll tell you what, we're in the home show. What is your initial impression coming out here today? What do you think about the show?
There's just a ton of vendors. Everything you could think of to improve your home, you could find under one roof. No pun intended.
Yeah, I like that. I might have to use that for the next home show, man. Can I steal that?
Of course.
Did you? All right, perfect. How's the weather outside today, by the way?
It's amazing, right? We've been blessed with some really great weather here.
At
least for the last week.
Yeah, exactly. It's been kind of cool out in the mornings. We're able to get out. I always know how good it's going to be because when I'm walking my dogs at 5 a.m. or whatever time it is in the morning and I'm already sweating, I know it's going to be a rough day. But this past week's been pretty cool outside, yeah?
Absolutely. I played golf yesterday morning, and I'm telling you, it was like chilly.
A little chilly.
A little chilly.
Now, okay, so let's go ahead there right now, Donald. How long you been playing golf for?
Since I was 10 years old, so almost 30 years.
Oh, so you're skilled.
Yes, sir. I played high school and college golf.
Man, now that's something we're going to have to get into today. So is it better playing golf when it's hot or when it's cool outside?
Absolutely. I like it when it's hot.
Okay. Oh, when it's hot.
Absolutely. If you're wearing layers, it's hard to swing. So
okay. Okay. I got you.
The hotter, the better, in my opinion.
And also, and of course, I'm going to get into my meteorology part of the show. Would you say that when it's hotter out, the air's a little bit lighter, so the ball probably flies further than that?
It actually might be the opposite.
It might be opposite.
Sometimes humidity actually makes the air thicker.
There you go. You're right. The pressure's gone up a little bit, and so the ball doesn't go as well. See, this is what we like to call meteorology with Rob Clemens. I know that's what everybody's tuning into here. So let's talk about you a little bit. Donald, I've known you for a number of years, and the way I've always known you is just, you're ahead of the photography game all the time. And we talk about, I'm always marveling at these cameras you have. You got a special camera for everything. But let's take a few steps back. How did you get into the photography business? Take us back to the beginning of 5-year-old Donald Hovis running around the house and what you're going to do. I mean, you don't have to go back that far, but you know what I'm saying.
But, growing up, obviously, I've lived in Myrtle Beach since I was 9 years old, so I'm a 30-year.
And where were you before Myrtle Beach?
Gastonia, North Carolina.
Okay, all right, got you. Not too far away then.
Not too far away. I would come here in the summer times.
Okay.
My family used to own Studebakers.
Oh, okay. Studebakers. Now, anybody who's been here for a while will know Studebakers.
Right.
Kind of legendary place almost, right?
Legendary. And this will kind of break the ice here for the podcast.
I like it.
Me and my brother would judge the bikini contest at Studebakers on their big dance floor. I started at the age of 5. He was 3.
Wow. And at those ages, you're probably as objective as you can be because you really, probably not even interested in that at that point, right?
It was whichever girl would actually come up in the big lifeguard chair on the dance floor and sit with us ended up being the winner.
Did anybody ever bribe you? But the bribe would have to be stuff like, I don't know, like rattlers or, what are you playing with at 3 to 5? He-Man dolls or something? I don't know.
That I don't ever remember, but I do remember that the ladies would jump up in the lifeguard chair and they were automatically
butter up the judges, which has got to be a twist for them when the judges are 3 and 5 years old. Okay, so all right, so Studebakers, and then you're going in. You go to high school. What did you want to do when you got into high school? And just kind of I want to get a sense of how you got here.
So in high school, we would have a news, announcements every day, but it was actually like a news broadcast. It was called Channel 1 News. I don't know if you ever heard of that before.
Channel 1 News, okay.
And it was national stuff, and then it would come more in the school, and they're talking about school announcements. And then one day it came on that they were looking for people to take pictures in the yearbook. At that time, I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay. And
I thought, that sounds really cool, and that would be a really great way to obviously, get popular. In high school, you want to be popular, right?
Yeah. It was always the people with the yearbooks, the ones who are doing that have some popularity because they're your ins to getting in the yearbook, right?
Right.
Okay,
so that's kind of that's really how it started. In that particular Christmas, I asked my parents for a digital camera, and at that time, it was a Kodak digital camera. That was my first ever camera that I owned.
There's still those left over. They're in the Smithsonian, I've heard.
I still have that particular Kodak camera.
Is that antique? Is that worth like money now? Maybe.
I'm probably because only like 8 megapixels.
Wow,
so it's like
that's crazy. It's like those old cell phones. They're like the size of a watermelon or something.
Right.
Yeah, I got you. So this is your first foray into photography, though. Nobody in your family was already a photographer. You just said, "Hey, look, this looks cool. I want to do this."
Yeah, and I fell in love with it. So what I started out doing first was like sunrises.
Okay.
I would go to the beach and photograph the sunrise because every day is something different, right?
Okay.
It's a different kind of a palette or a different masterpiece that could be created with the camera.
Okay.
From there, I actually got a job doing photography at Dixie Stampede, which is now Pirates Voyage.
Wow. Okay.
Started taking pictures, when you come in the show, hey, can we take your picture? And then we try to sell it to them after the fact.
Oh yeah, you're one of those people that hey, let's take your picture, and they're like, oh, you're so nice, and then you get money from them later.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
had a family friend that was he was one of the supervisors of the photo department there, and he saw that I was starting to take pictures, and he's like, we always need help. Why don't you come up here?
Okay.
So fast forward like a year and a half later, I was running that photo department at Dixie Stampede at the age of 18, going into my senior year of high school.
Wow, that's really impressive.
In terms of the photo, they had photo people that took people in pictures of people in the show, but this was, the first thing when you walk through the door. And I remember a conversation with my dad. I'm named after my dad. I am a junior. Obviously we look a lot alike. He's told me everything that I know.
And I know your dad, Don Hovis, of course, and we talked about this a little bit beforehand. How does you're Donald, your dad's Don. It's like me, I'm the fourth. My grandfather was Bob, my dad was Robert, and then I'm Rob. But of course, then my dad, when he got older, he started going by Bob, which is my grandfather. It confused the whole family. Did you guys ever have that?
Absolutely. It's always people always call me Little Donnie, Big Donnie.
I got you. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So, and I remember we having a conversation. Obviously, I told you my family had Studebakers. My uncle owns Dirty Don's Oyster Bar.
Very nice.
So we're all in all aspects of hospitality.
Wow.
And we were kind of talking about, okay, it's time for you kind of to figure out what you want to do for college. I did apply at University of South Carolina.
Okay.
I did apply at Coastal Carolina.
By the way, I love it. And for those, we're not filming the show per se with video, and we would be, but Donald's with us on the show. So, I'm looking at this beautiful Coastal Carolina shirt. So I do have to call that out right now. Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Go Chants. We're 3-0 right now.
Absolutely.
So anyway, a little shout out in the middle here.
We've had some struggles, but we're 3-0.
Hey, look, the best
a win
teams,
is a win.
The best teams find a way to win when they're struggling.
Absolutely. But no, actually teal is in my logo as well. So
nice.
I do love the Chanticleers.
Very cool.
And I knew we were going to be talking something about probably that today, so
love
I wanted to wear the shirt. So, but in terms of, that conversation with my dad, it was like, do you really think that photography could be something that you can make a living on? And at that point, at age of 18, of course, you're like, of course, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, of course.
But, obviously, I've told you my dad has taught me everything I know, and I would never be where I am today without him. And I think it was just a very heartfelt conversation that needed to be had that kind of turned me to going off to hotel management school.
Okay.
So staying within the family, like involved in hospitality, we went down to Charleston, South Carolina, and got to tour Johnson & Wales University. A lot of people may know Johnson & Wales out there as a culinary institution for famous chefs like Emeril Lagasse, Tyler Florence, just to name a few.
Okay.
Emeril Lagasse actually never graduated. That could be a whole different podcast.
Well, yeah. So he's like what would you say? He's like the Steve Jobs of chefs, sort of like that?
Probably.
Okay.
But a young kid going to college, you could probably understand why he didn't graduate.
Right. Okay.
Probably can put 2 and 2 together pretty quickly. But when I went down there, I just fell in love with the campus. It was a small atmosphere. I knew at that point, I guess I wanted to do something in hospitality, and I didn't want to run a nightclub or do a restaurant. It was kind of like.
And was that just because it's like those are the family businesses, but you kind of wanted to set your own name for yourself?
I did. At that point, I was like, oh, one day I want to own my own hotel. I thought that would be kind of cool. All these hotels in Myrtle Beach, I thought, well, there's probably a lot of places to go work.
Absolutely.
Right? When going to Johnson & Wales, one of the things when I went there is I did play golf. We talked about golf a little bit. I did play golf in high school.
Yeah.
And I knew I was not good enough to get like a full ride scholarship to go play college golf.
Sure.
But Johnson & Wales, they have golf.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things I checked on the admissions thing when we were taking a tour. And I remember getting a call from the golf coach like 2 days later. saying, hey, what do you typically shoot? What is this? What is that? And he said, you could be our number one golfer.
No way.
So
wow,
that was another thing where I guess where I was called to be.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I love Charleston. It's actually one of my favorite cities in the country. I have 2 degrees in hotel management there.
Nice.
I played golf all 4 years with a focus in marketing.
Let me ask you this before we get away from the golf, because a lot of subjects. What was your proudest moment at the college playing golf? Because obviously, like you said, you came in as probably the team ringer. Was there anything that you did that you look back on and you're like, man, I'm really proud, or a special moment in the golf, your golf career there?
It was probably the first tournament we ever went to,
my
freshman year. I remember it was up in Tennessee, in the mountains of Greenville, Tennessee. I don't know if you ever heard of Greenville, Tennessee.
Yep. Nice area.
And I remember, I think I came in with a score of like 78. I think I remember.
Okay.
And everyone else on the team shot like over 90.
Really?
In a college golf tournament.
Wow. And here you are, you're the freshman, and you came in and just...
I remember this to the day. I don't remember what university, but one of the coaches from one of the other teams came up to me and he said, is there something wrong? That's all he said. And I said, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He said, well, look at your score compared to the rest of your team. He said, are you on the wrong team? I remember that.
Wow.
So that was really, we never won any tournaments. I never won any tournaments. I never, never finished in the top 3, top 5, any of that. But that was one thing that always stuck out to me is, are you on the wrong team?
Yeah, are you on the wrong? Well, it's kind of special. It's a high compliment just to be like, you did so well that they're thinking, man, should you be at like Coastal Carolina or something like that, right?
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So zooming back forward to you've gone to school for the hospitality and you're looking at a career in that.
Yes, and one of the first jobs I had was in Williamsburg, Virginia, outside of college.
That's a pretty area. William Mary College is out
Absolutely,
there, correct? Yep.
Yeah. The hotel I was working at was right around the corner from William and Mary, and all the football teams would actually stay with us that played William and Mary.
Nice.
Very cool. But I found out quickly that the beach is where I wanted to be.
Okay.
So I came back a year and a half later in Myrtle Beach, and I've got 16 years of hotel management experience.
Wow. Okay.
I do remember one of the first jobs back in Myrtle Beach was when like social media was kind of like just starting, right?
Right.
And they're like, well, one of the things we want you to do is to take pictures for social media.
Mm-hmm.
So remember the photography in high school.
Yeah.
During college, there was no photography being done. Like the camera was kind of down. I kind of just put it on the back burner and said, well, maybe that's just not meant to be right now. And as soon as I got this job back in Myrtle Beach and I was taking pictures for social media, this is back when Facebook was just starting. It looked completely different than it does today. It was a way to try to get our name out there in a new world, right? The new world of social media. And I just fell back in love with the camera.
Wow.
And I remember I started there like Halloween, like right on the Halloween time frame. Black Friday was right around the corner.
Uh-huh.
Black Friday, I was out buying a camera.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I remember I bought like, just a starter Canon, nothing fancy, but just to go out and shoot and have fun. And within like a year of that, doing it for a profession, obviously, when I was working in hotels, and then just shooting for fun on the side, there's several people back then that would message me and say, you have an eye. I really think you can do this.
Yeah.
And we're talking now 10 years ago, 11,
Absolutely.
12 years ago. And so in 2012, I just started my business part-time. Whenever I wasn't working, I never really did I would sell like prints of Myrtle Beach. And then, people are like, you could do family photos. Like, so I would just like do it for a test. Like I would just find a family and say, I just want to do it for you for free. For free.
Like, and by the way, let me just jump in and say, I respect that so much. And this is something where, and just a quick insight here for anybody that's listening. I've always felt like it's so important. If you want to do something, if you are truly committed to getting great at it, be prepared to do it for free. And people will be like, that doesn't make sense to me. I think this is one of the biggest failures of a young person coming up, and they need to hear this, that, it's always like, how much am I going to get paid? What time can I get off work? But the truth of the matter is, if you love something, you want to get great at it, be prepared to do it for free, because that's when you're getting that experience, you're getting that, maybe that reference you wouldn't have had, you're getting that chance to show what you can do that you wouldn't get otherwise. So,
right.
All right. So back to what you were saying, but I thought that was important. I love that you said that.
Yeah, and feedback is one of the things I still, as of today, I think is one of the most important assets of where I've gotten to. And we're obviously we're gonna get there here in a little bit. But I just started, like I say, shooting for free. Just really, I was just having a ball with it. At that point, I started a business Facebook page, Tide's Eye Photography, and what I would do. I told you the first camera I ever got was the Kodak digital camera. I would shoot sunrises. I just started a Facebook page where, this is where cell phones, they were smart, but they're not smart like they are today.
Right.
And I just found a cell phone tripod, and I would go out there and put my phone on video mode and video the sunrise coming up, and I'm off to the side of that taking a picture of it as well.
Okay.
And I grew it to like 21,000 people on my Facebook page.
Wow, that's
just
impressive.
By posting sunrises somewhere along the Grand Strand every single day.
And who's viewing this at that point? Is it mainly people in Myrtle Beach, or is this from all over the country?
No, this is from all over the country. Like, wow. I was on the Weather Channel. I was in national, all the, Jim Cantori, all these people started sharing this stuff.
Wow, that's cool.
Because when I shared it, everybody would share it.
Now you said you got it up to 20,000. And again, I think this is important for businesses to hear what I'm about to ask you. You didn't make your first 2 or 3 posts and all of a sudden you got 20,000 people following it. No. How quickly did you build to that 20? How long did it take, I guess I should say?
I'm today I'm at 21,000 something. So it's taken 10 or 12 years.
Okay. There you go. It's the consistency of doing the thing that you're doing. Right. And I feel like that's something that's a lesson in itself. People get into something, I tried that, it didn't work out, but you're doing it for a very long time and you can see where you can get to. So very cool. So back to your story. Sorry about that. I keep finding all these interjections today.
No, it's good. It's good. And that's just where it really kind of started. And from there, those 21,000 people were like, oh, do you do this type of photography? We're coming to Myrtle Beach. Would you take our family photo? I want to buy that picture. I want to put it on a billboard. I want to put it in my place of business. And that's really just where the money started to come.
Wow. Fascinating stuff.
It is. And I will be honest, by this point, I'm telling my family, I want to have my own photography business. This is what I want to do. I think I've found my true, I still today will tell people this is not my job. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. And if someone needs help, photography related, I'm going to go help them. Well,
I know that you mean that when you say it, because I've been around you quite a bit. And you can see people are going through the motions. You're never going through the motions, Donald.
Right.
I see you're always you're that guy. And it's always hard for the people getting the pictures taken. But you're like, hey, twist a little bit, turn this way, because you want to really do the picture honor. Tell us, what kind of stuff do you do? I know you mentioned sunsets and things like that, but what kind of photography are you doing on a day-to-day basis?
Mainly focusing on real estate photography, and I can do everything in that real estate spectrum for a listing.
Okay.
And here's a unique story that I think needs to be mentioned to where I've grown that side of my business today is in 2019, in the fall of 2019, I was doing some research on virtual tours. And there was a camera out there called Matterport.
Well, it was called what?
Matterport.
Okay.
Now, I didn't think the camera would be the price that it was. And when I saw it, I was like, holy smokes, I don't know that I can afford that. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a $5,000 camera.
Wow.
I purchased that camera not knowing that COVID would be coming in the spring. And I remember I think it was March 19th or March 20th, there was a Facebook post from several real estate agents in the Myrtle Beach market saying, who do you know in Myrtle Beach that has a Matterport camera?
Okay.
So from that point forward, the rocket left the ground, if you know what I mean.
So you're telling me you go out, you buy this $5,000 camera. Okay, let's put it in businessman perspective, right? You're like, I got to do this thing for my business. I'm going to make an investment to my business to help us grow. And then, boom, shoe drops, right? All of a sudden, COVID comes in and you're like, am I even to have a business? Will we even be able to go outside and talk to people, right? And this is when everybody's freaking out about it. And so you're probably like, oh my gosh, I just bought this $5,000 camera. Where are we going next? And then you see this post and people are saying, who do you know that has this camera and can do this work? And it blew up from there. Where is this the future of your photography? Is that the future of the business, or you see something even bigger on your horizon?
I at this point, I don't know if there is anything any bigger,
Uh-huh.
right? Because, I can take pictures of the house. I can do a virtual tour. I can do this. I can do that. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, there's nothing out there that is going to come out that at this point I'm going to need to invest in further, right? I'm always investing in new cameras,
Sure.
new equipment. But
How many cameras do you have, by the way?
I have 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah.
And each one's probably got a different purpose that you're doing with it?
Absolutely, yeah. So if I like to do a headshots, for example, I love doing headshots of folks for business cards and you name it. Family photos, I still do occasionally.
Yeah.
I don't really tap into the wedding side of photography or the food side. Trust me,
No, why not? Because there's good money in wedding photography, right?
it is, but it's very, very stressful.
Oh, it's stressful. Right. Okay. It's like the biggest day of their life.
Biggest day of their life.
Sure.
And you got one shot to get the picture.
Oh,
right?
I understand.
I mean? So in real estate, it's a lot of fun, and headshots are fun. So I really just have fun with it. And
Gotcha.
I don't consider it a job.
Let's go back and forth on this a little bit. You're doing a real estate picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got your new real estate agent. They're getting their picture taken. This is going to be on the business card. Can you look at them and say, this guy's got the magic eye, or this lady's going to be great at real estate just from the way they do their headshot?
I think initially I think it starts in the way they talk from when we set up the appointment.
Okay.
And then how they carry themselves inside of when we're meeting. I don't have a studio. That's a goal of mine.
Sure.
Obviously, so I usually meet on location, or I have a pop-up studio I can take to them. But it's basically our conversation while we're together. I can tell whether or not that person's going to make it or not really pretty quickly.
Based on, and I think that's an interesting thing. I can say from a business level, and I love when you tell me this, because on a business level, we work so hard trying to hire the right people, right? And you and I were just talking the other day about internships and things, and how can we grow our business, and with young people from Coastal Carolina, HGTC, they could come up with us. But a lot of times I start my interview process with, how do they interact outside of the interview? I want to know what they're doing on that. How do they present themselves? How do they dress? How do they talk? And the real estate agents, they're going to make it. There's a different kind of a vibe to them, because they know that this isn't just, hey, I got some family members looking for some stuff, but I actually have that. There's a certain, just a mentality that you can almost pick up on.
Absolutely. It's so true.
Very
Absolutely
cool.
So
well,
true.
So what's next for your business? What you talked about the studio. Is that a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, or are we going to be seeing this tomorrow or something?
No, I would say it's probably a 10-year plan.
Okay.
And it kind of it's a double-faceted kind of plan. Is downtown Myrtle Beach, obviously the Arts and Innovation District.
Yeah.
Is really it's ever changing, right? We can see it for our own eyes right now. The goal of mine is to not only have like a studio there, but more of like a art gallery,
Mm-hmm.
like in an event venue that's almost like double faceted, right? Jack Thompson, local famous photographer, Jack Thompson, dear friend. I want to be what he was in downtown Myrtle Beach one day.
Wow, that's really, really cool. I like that. Is Jack Thompson? A lot of times, I know you listen to the show. A lot of times I ask people this: do you have anybody that you try to emulate or that you look up to in the business? I know you look up to your dad, but I'm talking about in the business. Is Jack Thompson the guy?
Absolutely. I've had several people tell me over the years, you're going to be the next Jack Thompson in
Myrtle
Beach.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Hey, when you open that studio, I know you said it's a 10-year plan, but you got to give us an invite, right?
Absolutely.
That sounds cool. What would you tell yourself if you could go back to 10 years ago, about photography that you didn't know then that you do know now?
I wish I would have, gone full force in it sooner.
Wow.
No, I mean, we're just talking about, 3-4 years of, significant growth. What would I have been now if I had done this 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Versus, 4 years ago, let's just say.
So just get started earlier, dive in a little bit harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very cool. Donald, I think this is some great stuff. What do you think is a passion of yours outside of this? Is there any kind of a charity or anything that is passionate to yourself that you want to tell us about? Yeah,
and it'll I'll go back in my life a little bit, and you'll understand why I'm so passionate when I talk about it. Is when I was growing up here in Myrtle Beach, not far from where we're actually sitting. My parents still live there. We had a family here in Myrtle Beach they didn't have very much, right? They really struggled. They hardly had a roof over their head. And if me and my brother, I have a younger brother who's 2 years younger than me, ever wanted something new, whether it was a bicycle or anything, we had to give something away.
Now, this was a family rule?
This was like a family rule.
Okay.
This is kind of how we were brought up, right?
So kind of a cool rule. Okay,
kind
I
of
like
a cool rule. So, and then through that, a family friend was a special education teacher at Socastee High School. She's now since retired, but I actually got to be around a lot of special needs kids. We're talking about when I may have been like 14, somewhere around in that age.
Uh-huh.
And those kids are just amazing, right? They're no different than us.
Yeah,
Essentially, they're no different than us. And it was just, they were just truly special. And I felt that they connected with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, throughout college, nothing really happened. When I got into the workforce environment in the hotels here, I remember a chamber group, a young professionals group with a chamber saying, hey, we're going to do a...
By the way, shout out Chamber of Commerce. Always got to do that.
There we go. They said, we're going to do this service project at the Grand Strand Miracle League. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I want to say it was in 2009 or 2010. Somewhere around in there. And I had no idea. I was like, Grand Strand Miracle League, what is this?
Right.
So it's we go to the field, and it's a baseball game with kids that are playing that have special needs.
Right.
And this was like the coolest thing I had seen. Like, I fell in love with it. And I remember going up to the executive director. Shout out to Tori Mackey, who was she was the executive director of Grand Strand Miracle League at that time. And I said, I want to get involved. I have to get involved. This is truly amazing. I never knew this was here. She said, come back next week. You can do it all over again. Fast forward like a year later, she's like, well, we need someone to be a coach. And I was like, hold on a second. I'm not a coach. Like, what do you mean by a coach? She just says be a mentor.
Okay.
Be there for someone, for the parents to call, to ask questions, really just kind of be there as really like a figure that they can call on or see.
So you don't have to be the world's greatest baseball strategist.
Correct.
But you are a good liaison for the parents.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough.
Then, I did that for a few years, and then we have over there at Miracle League, we have someone that does on-field announcing. So, like, if you're coming up to bat, Rob for the Yankees is now batting, right? Yeah. This person was going to be moving out of Myrtle Beach, and they needed someone to go and do announcing. And I said, I've never been on a microphone ever in my life. I don't know that I could do that.
Right.
I put the microphone on, and after one game, she says, you have the job.
Wow.
So I'm still doing on-field announcing for the Miracle League.
Wow, that's so cool.
And, that's now I've been involved 12 years now,
Man,
Current
that's a
vice
powerful
president
thing.
of the board, and all of those kids with Miracle League, they truly have my heart. And I want to make sure that I do the best I can for them.
And
because if I do the best, they're going to do the best on the field.
And just to have that leadership and to know somebody cares, that's a very cool thing. And I appreciate you shared that with us. I sometime you'll have to have me on. I'd love to be a guest commentator with you on that. And how can we get involved with Miracle League? I mean, I've heard of this Grand Strand Miracle League over the years. I know it's a great organization. What's the best way somebody can get back?
I would say go to the website, grandstrandmiracleleague.com.
Okay.
We are on social media, GS Miracle Leagues. And funny enough, Rob, I'm talking to you about Miracle League, and that's what I do for Miracle League, is I go around and talk about Miracle League in the local community.
Nice.
We're always looking for sponsorships, for donations. There are 6,000 kids in Horry County that have special needs.
6,000.
I know you just had Sarah Pope on the show because I just listened to it.
Absolutely. Sarah's great.
Dear friend. Some of the kids that are involved at SOS are involved with Miracle League as well.
Beautiful thing.
And, in our program, we do sports, baseball, golf, and soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And we only have maybe about 175 kids out of 6,000.
Wow.
Just think about that a second. Special Olympics, obviously. That's another organization where some of our kids do participate.
Sure.
Grand Strand Down Syndrome Society. There's a lot of special needs, but there's still 6,000 kids, and not all 6,000 kids are involved in some form or fashion.
Wow. Well, and by the way, before we get, and I think you were building there, but with the 6,000, is it an awareness thing that so many of them are not aware of this opportunity, or is it more about just the ability to service the kids?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think it's honestly a little bit of both. And I also think it goes back to the actual child himself, him or herself. Do they like going outside? Some of those kids, unfortunately are not, they may not be able to be outside.
Sure, that makes sense.
So obviously it depends on the child, the parent, but our programs are free over at Miracle League thanks to sponsorships and donations. So you can donate right on the website. I would say, sponsoring a baseball game with your business probably would be one of the best service projects that you ever did. We do spring and fall. So we're in our fall baseball season right now. We just had a game yesterday, and we've got that was only our second game. So we've got 6 more games, and we'll finish around Halloween this year. And then we'll take the winter off, and we'll pick back up around St. Patrick's Day in the spring.
Sounds good. So that's a great way to get involved, and I definitely recommend anybody go out, go to the website, go to the Facebook page, and that's thank you for what you do. I don't know if anybody's told you that lately.
Well, I appreciate
recently,
that.
but
I
that's
love
a beautiful
what
thing.
I do.
Yeah,
I love what I do.
Exactly. And I see that in your face. We're not filming this, but he's smiling as he's saying it. So that's very awesome. Well, Donald, as we come to the back end of this, how can people find your business? Let's just give a quick, tell us about your website or Facebook page, and how can they find Donald Hovis?
Yeah, so it's tiedseyephotography.com. And a lot of people think it's tie-dye, like the tie-dye shirts.
Yeah.
That's not it. Tides, like we have a low tide and a high tide. Okay? With an S.
Yep.
EYE, we all have eyes.
Yes.
Photography.com.
Tiedseyephotography.com.
And then also on Facebook, I have a page, Tides Eye Photography. I also have a page, Tides Eye Real Estate Imagery.
Okay.
And then same on Instagram.
Man, sounds good. Well, everybody go check him out. Donald, I appreciate you being on the show, man. It's been a great pleasure of mine personally.
I want to leave the listeners with one thing, and this is what I still pride myself on every single day. It's my favorite quote of all time. Ralph Waldo Emerson. You make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give.
Man, beautiful thing. I like that quote, Donald, and I think that's a good one for us to leave off on. My friend, good luck today and going forward for the year, all right?
Thanks, Rob.
All right, and we will see everybody next time on Crowning Connections. This has been Rob Clemens. Thanks for listening.